Seeing and hearing how others improve and grow is part of the process of increasing your own sales. Each week, Eric Loifholm interviews one of his students to showcase their success and the significant impact it's had on their life. Learn how people just like you have applied what they've learned in Eric's course and the success they've experienced as a result. This is the CSI Case Study Podcast with Eric Loifholm.
Hi, this is Eric Loifholm. I want to welcome all of you to another great edition of the CSI Case Study Podcast. Today I'm joined by another one of my great clients, Bill Leversee. Bill, welcome to the podcast.
Great to be here, Eric. Good to see you.
Awesome. I'm so looking forward to our interview today, and I just love what's happened in your life since you and I have known each other. So why don't we start off, and do you remember how we met in the first place?
I do. So the year, I believe, was 2003. I was on the island of Maui, and I was working at Starwood Resorts selling timeshare. And we had a fabulous sales team, a fabulous sales training team. And we had many trainings and morning pump ups and things like that. I think you came in and gave us probably about 30 to 45 minutes of some golden nuggets. And that's where I first met you.
And that was with Weston, right?
Yes.
Was that John Desolat's team?
It was, yeah. John is a good friend of mine and was the reason I was out there.
Yeah, so John, he's a big fan of Dr. Moyne, my mentor. And John was at a seminar that Dr. Moyne and I taught, and he came up to me and said, hey, if you ever want to come out to Maui, we'll put you up for a week. All you need to do is train our team. So that's how I ended up out there. I didn't realize that's how we met, but that's awesome. So yeah, it's a long time ago. And so share with me, so what happened next as you remember as far as yours and my relationship?
Yeah, so of course, when I was with Weston, everybody, Donald Moyne was the sensei, the master, the Yoda. And we built a very successful sales script based on his teachings. And gosh, I can't remember the book, but it's at my house. It's How to Master Hypnotic Selling Techniques.
Yeah, the Unlimited Selling Power.
Yeah, that's it. And interestingly enough, I had a client of mine who worked for a very successful money manager. If I said his name, most people would probably recognize who this guy was. And he bought some timeshare for me. And then he said, with your ability and sales skills, I think you could come and help sell people on investing their assets with my money manager. And being a year in Hawaii, I had island fever and I was ready to get back home to San Diego. And so I successfully interviewed and got the job. And my job was to go and talk to wealthy people in Southern California and convince them to put their assets with our money manager. And so I went to a number of Donald Moyne seminars. I even hired him to help me with my scripting. And of course, your name, I've been to a few of your seminars here in San Diego. I think you were still living in San Diego at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I became a protege, silver, gold, platinum, and for the number of sales positions that I did before my final career here, I would check in from time to time. We would probably have a few different sales gigs, or rather coaching appointments that you and I ran. And I've finally settled in a career of property and casualty insurance sales. And I would say, well, obviously we continued the conversation, but I think it's shifted more. I think I've learned enough on the selling side, and now I'm more focused on efficiency and goal setting and really running a business, because I do run a business of my own now.
Yeah. And last year you had, was it your best career year in terms of income success?
Yeah. So I I may have had a couple years where I eclipsed the number. Yet what I really love about my business, other than my clients and how I get to interact with them, is it's a recurring revenue. So my business in insurance sales has renewals. So my year last year, I nearly got to 200, which was my target. And I could have woken up this year in 2021 and not had to do much work to get that same number again. So this year, my target is 300. I'm going after that goal. And what's nice about my book of business is that should generally return that same number year after year after year. Notice the hypnotic sales. Uh, and I'm marching my way to 500.
Fantastic. Well, there's a couple of things that really stood out to me about your results from last year. And one of them was, and tell me if this is correct, part of what was motivating you to elevate your income was simultaneously with your business goals, you also had some investing goals. And so by getting your income up, then that would give you some money over here on the investing side. Was that a motivating factor for you to kind of do both goals at the same time?
Yeah. So I think just about everybody's heard the saying, it's not what you make, it's what you take, or what you make off the deal. So hitting my income, my target income, also allowed me to incorporate. And so because I own my own business, I was being paid out as a 1099 and taking all my deductions. However, I've been networking with some really sharp folks down here, and they said you should be incorporating. And as an incorporation, I then become my own W-2 employee. I pay myself. I have to set up payroll. However, what it allows me to do is to set up a solo 401k. And so not only do I contribute as an employee, I contribute as an employer. So I'm a single employee corporation, and between my personal and my employer contribution, I contributed nearly 50K last year.
Wow, that is awesome. When you shared that with me, I just loved hearing that, because part of what I've been teaching clients lately is set your investing goals, and then you've got your income goals. And then if we can get your sales up, that extra money, you can use some of it to go over on the investing side. And so it comes back to the whole, what is your why? What's your reason to want to be more successful? And if you've got financial goals, if you got those two together, it can be really motivating. And I was so happy to hear about that win. And another thing that I remember about your year last year was going after larger accounts. And, that's something that a lot of people that are in sales have an opportunity to do, either going after somebody who's a more successful client or a bigger company or a bigger account. Could you just talk about whatever you want to share about that strategy and how that helped you in increasing your income even more?
Yeah. So in my business, there's a number of accounts that would range in size. And of course, the larger account, the more commissions that generates, and that puts more money in my pocket. And really, it comes down to a mindset. And one of my favorite teachers out there, Wayne Dyer, he says, change the way you look at something, and that something will it will change. And so I think there was a time I was a little bit intimidated by some of these larger accounts, felt that they needed somebody who knew more about insurance or was had a longer tenure. Whatever the excuse was, I was holding myself back from that. And so I did my best to change the way I looked at big accounts. And, I use some of your philosophy, Eric, which is when you prospect, you win. And if the prospect says yes, then you double win. So I've been applying a number of that strategy, and more so through my networking too. So I'm just the way I'm showing up is a bit different, which allows for other opportunities to come in. And of course, there's procession when you're continually going after the goal, and it's just showing up in a way that maybe you hadn't thought of. And some of these opportunities have come forward.
Outstanding. Now, one of the things about the protege memberships, they oftentimes will come with a family membership where you can add family members. And so your wife, India, is now protege because she piggybacks on your membership. And I also have coached with her. And one of the things about India is she speaks so highly of you, which is, I coach a lot of people through the years. There's been hundreds of people that I coached, and usually people are not so complimentary about their spouse. And so could you just share some insight? You obviously have a very successful marriage. What's one or two things that, helps you have a great marriage with your wife?
Good question. I'll go back to mindset, and I'll steal some of your language, which is I've won the lottery of life, and I got married late in life, and was at a point where I thought maybe this just wasn't destined for me. And sure enough, at that time, I then met my wife and fell in love, and we got married. And I would probably go to the classic Ephesians, love and respect. And she respects me. I've done a number of things to earn that respect, but she respects me and I love her. And so if you know Ephesians and love and respect, when a woman feels love, she tends to exude respect for the man. And when a man feels respected, it allows him to love easier than maybe what we're geared or wired for. And we just have a love affair that continues on. And we've been through our storms, and I'm sure we'll have some more. Yet nothing has been able to pierce that. And probably the biggest thing is, we're both Christian and our faith is really strong, and, God sits above everything. And I think when we have faith and, we know our values, you don't get shaken. You know what to lean on, what's the core, and the other things are just, they're just circumstantial, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's another thing. I'm just, as I've gotten to know you through our coaching relationship, just so happy for your business success, your success with investing and handling money, and then having a great marriage. For me, I'm so fortunate to have a wonderful wife as well. And it just makes everything just so much better. And well, awesome. Bill, there's two types of people that would be watching or listening to our interview. One is somebody who's already a client, like yourself, protege, and somebody who's not a protege. You've had a lot of success with my program. And what's great is everything you've learned, you have that for the rest of your career. You've got a nice, 10, 20, 25 or so year career in front of you, and you're going to, be even more successful. What advice would you share with somebody that's in the protege program, but maybe they haven't really fully applied it? What would you share with them?
Okay, so good question. Well, I'll answer it this way. So you and I can still remember, and I hope it's okay to, you had a program back in 2017, the guaranteed results. And 2017 on May 6th was when I got married. And so going into that year, I'm like, okay, this is going to be a new ball game. And, I can't remember how many years I'm into my career, but I definitely had milestones to hit. And I'd known you for a long time. And I said, okay, so I was ready. And I think it was at the time about a $5,000.
It's a $5,000 program.
Yeah. And at the time, that was a lot of money to me. But I said, if I don't do this, then what? And I already know he's a proven commodity. And so it was a little bit of faith there, but I don't know if I wrote the check. I probably gave the credit card number and, off we went. And by the time June came around, I was so busy and had already gotten a number of major accounts. I actually deferred part of my coaching time into the next year because I just got so busy and things were happening. So perhaps it's commitment. And sometimes commitment is, writing that check or giving the credit card number and taking a leap. And my advice would be, take the step with you, Eric. You're a proven commodity, year after year after year, content after video after strategy. It's just undeniable the amount of resource and value that you bring to the table. And we still take advantage of your programs. I still have time banked with you that I'm using. And what I do, just a tactical, I wouldn't even call it a secret, but a clue, is I record our calls and then I go back and re-listen and I write notes and I get the message, but at a different level. And so if somebody's looking for just something tactical, I would say it's listening more than once. And, for our private one-on-one calls, very impactful, and putting it in a Word document that I can look at and that I can really take in. That's been a big part of my success.
Yeah, well, it's been so much fun just to watch your career just really blossom, and you still have, like I said, you got a long road in front of you as far as years left in your career. With the goal of, I think you said 300,000 this year, working towards 500,000, and the sky's the limit. And so I'm just really happy for your success and happy for your relationship with India. As I've gotten to know her through coaching, I just know you have a great relationship and a great wife, and I appreciate you taking some time out today so others can hear your story and hear that it's been really beneficial for you. And I appreciate all the insight you shared. So thanks for being here today, Bill.
Yeah, thanks for allowing me to guest. I really enjoyed it.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up another great edition of the CSI Case Study Podcast. I'll look forward to connecting with all of you on a future podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this episode, make sure and subscribe to get notified of new episodes every week. Or if you're one of my students with a success story you'd like to share, send me an email at eric@ericlofholm.com. And maybe you'll be on my next episode. Until next time, keep on improving.